Good evening. It's the Wall Street Weekly Wrap Up with your host, John Newquist, April 25th, 2025. And we had Google report, and the rest of it's coming next week. And let's take a look. A surprising week for most people. I mean, I didn't expect it to be a positive week. Because it was a little ugly last week. Our next gen portfolio up 1.1% today. And of course, the portfolio does not update it instantly after close. It'll be there tomorrow, but we're down 8.37. And is it sell Monday? Because it was a sell day. Then the next 4 days in a row are positive. 4 days in a row positive. Wake me up, because I couldn't believe it myself. Everything went up. Look at the S&P. Our goal down about 2% behind it. Let's take a look at the FLCH, or the Franklin Templeton China Fund. China is even coming back. A lot of stress over in both countries with these tariffs. The NASDAQ down an even 10% this year for the year to date. We're good. Still beating the NASDAQ, but our goal is always the S&P 500. So it takes time. We got a diversified portfolio, little weight in tech in there, but we got some other ones. Let's go the right direction. And of course, interest rates. The bond market is always brutal. The rates are low, inflation's somewhat steady. They're not lowering the bonds. They're worried, So, the rumor was last Tuesday when it was ugly, that's when they backed off on all the Navarro and Lutnick nonsense of these 45% tariffs on Cambodia stuff. So, crude oil a little bit higher. I don't see much drop, Same price when it was $70. So I don't know if you're seeing a price discount, but I'm not. Natural gas finally below 3. Like I said it was going to come. Remember, summer it's usually going to come down, and then winter it's high. So gold says as the stocks are going, you're seeing people lowering the price of gold. Not such a need to have that secure metal anymore. Copper still high at 485. That's a strong area. And the thing is, if I think we're going to get a recession, which could be flip a coin, then we have to think about, being defensive. We're going to pick for the worst. We'll be all right if it goes up and there's no recession, but we don't want to be wrong in a recession. Huawei is going to make new AI chips, just like Intel is going to make new AI chips. Intel's just a mess. I'm glad we're not in Intel. Holy schmoly. It is not good. It's, NVIDIA. One of the things you'll notice with the Mag 7, NVIDIA is about the last one. Downward channel, no breakout yet. It's been choppy. This is this heartburn city, man. You look at this since June, we're lower than we were a year ago, and people are just like, oh, when is this stock going to take off? When I bought all this stuff, I put all my money in. I have people that tell me, like, I got $40,000 in NVIDIA, and it's just down $30,000, and I don't know what to do. I says, well, that's called diversification. I'm sorry, I can't help you when you buy all or nothing. That's like betting in the casino. Not that the stocks are casinos, but geez, diversify. Or go buy an index fund, because maybe that'll give you less stress. Amazon, here's what we're talking about. The Mag 7, here's our breakout of Amazon this week, with all the 4 great days and stuff. They're pausing some co-location leasing. And what I'm watching is, because I get to talk to different people, is that they are just waiting to see what the effects of tariffs are on cloud revenues. And that's why Google was so important this week, because everybody wants to see if there's a slowdown in cloud revenue growth. Because if there is a recession, it should slow down. And of course, Microsoft at the Mount Pleasant data center is, same thing. We're going to hold off on the expansion. Remember, we are waiting for the iterative AI moment where I can talk to Alexa, Siri, somebody, and get a real conversation and go in there. You're going to see text-us movie capability. That's the next generation. Detailed analysis, knows what you want, anticipate all your moves, maybe even put music on when you're not sleeping so good. So let's take a look at Google, the one, the only, the first of all, the big 7, and so much weight on its shoulders coming out first. Revenue, double digits. That's what we want. We want our text to be double digits. I don't want to hear about single digits. Search went up 9.8. Not a double digits, but it's not so bad to $50 billion. Remember, we're not working with 50 million. We're working with 50 billion. YouTube ad, double digits. That's great because everybody's thinking everything from China is going to stop. It doesn't mean that China doesn't advertise on YouTube. That's a possibility if this all goes to crap. Google advertising, same thing. You know, are you going to spend money from China to advertise on Google if you are having a big trade war with the United States? No. The cloud, this is the number of numbers. It went up 28% and better than they've done before. So that's why Google got a lot of price action and doing well. And AI overviews, you know, a lot of people using Google AI Advanced came out with Gemini. Of course, Gemini doesn't want to be, wants to be called Gemini now. It doesn't want to have any human names. And you know, when I did the self-image, they don't want to look human. They want to look like ether tech, you know, where you got neurons connecting to possibly a human shape. I just bring this one up because, you know, we're hearing a lot about AI vehicles. Remember, Baidu's #1, and then, you know, Waymo and Google is #2, and you know, in California, the 4th largest economy in the world, now beating Japan, is going to have rules for AI and then talk about data reporting and stuff. The numbers are stunning. You know, there's nobody getting killed. This is the future. I mean, you got to drive to Chicago, get in there, sneak, watch the car, you're there. It'll just stop and go, slug through the thing, and you'll be out there. I mean, you know, can you imagine? It'd be just airplanes with autonomous driving. Fly the airplane, gets in there, lands perfectly. No pilots. Woo, don't tell that to the flyers. But, you know, I mean, I'm waiting for it. You know, because think about it. You just have a car. How much is this car going to cost? Let's say $125,000. 24/7 it's working. You can pay for itself in 6 months. You know, 6 months. And it's no accidents. Doesn't tailgate. Doesn't sit there and, you know, jerk you around and everything else. So, you know, as people use it, it will be more and more popular, you know. Apple, this is ominous. They're going to get out of China. They're going to move the manufacturing of the iPhone to India in 12 to 18 months. Better the 12 months, maybe 18. You know, if you go into the global macro, Apple has a lot of data they have access. Technically, they got a lot of information coming all over through China and everything else. And if the Chinese are going to make a plan to invade Taiwan in 12 months, then, you know, what would happen to Apple? Well, Taiwan Semiconductor would get destroyed over there, and all the stuff stops. You know, no iPhone, no NVDA chips. It's all would have to be made here, which they can do, but they're not going to make the amount they can do at a record pace. So everything's going to India. Again, even Apple broke out. So just conscious that, you know, here's Tim Cook, who I respect quite a bit. Very good manager, very good long-term planner, and they're getting out of China. And that could be both ways. Is it, you know, an ominous side like war or, you know, a massive trade retaliation? Or is it just that they think, you know, they're not going to get resolved with some of these things real quickly, and the tariffs are going to kill the sales? And what it tells me is that, are they going to still sell in China? Maybe to a point, and then eventually they don't sell. The Huawei will take over all the Apple phones, and buy China first, America last could be a real theme over there, and don't underestimate things like that. So this is quite a bit. I would, you know, not making the news as much as I thought it would make, because I think this has got a lot of implications. I would love to ask, you know, Tim Cook about this, because this is, to me, exceptionally big news for a company that's been there forever, since the iPhones has been made there, and they're getting out. So that's going to be interesting. Summit Therapeutics. I watch the biotechs and stuff, and You know, of course, it ran up, you know, 15 to 30, so somebody doubled their money pretty fast. You can see the green volume over here. And then, of course, it comes back down in the low 20s, and it languishes. And, you know, they got this drug. I'll call it ivonescimab, schemab. Who comes up with these names? I mean, I could think something, you know, 5-year-old kid could make a better name than some of these other people. First line treatment for lung cancer. Basically, they got a trial against the leading drug for lung cancer, and it blew it away. I'm thinking we're going to buy the ease into it. You know, again, biotechs are like, you better have some antacid because it can jump up and it can drop 50%. And but I look at these trials and I actually read this abstract of them, and this is really nice. I mean, this is a pretty significant. Of course, it's China, and China's got, what is it, millions of scientists and everybody else. So they're not going to approve a drug that's bad. So this is something I think could be it. And of course, it dropped 36% today, and you're up here. You're like, oh, there goes 36. 1/3 of my money just disappeared in a day. So that's what I said. Wait, we'll see what it's like Monday. Maybe it'll go down lower. We'll see. Maybe we'll find out a story that I didn't hear about. You know, because sometimes the market is skittish and does things like after watching, you know, AMC and GameStop and all these other things. It doesn't have to have rationale sometimes with these shortly thin traded. Look at this volume. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Pop, 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 pop. Nothing, nothing, nothing. And not as much as that. Tariffs. Okay, the team's been in there 100 days. How many deals? No deals. You got 100 countries you put sanctions on. How many deals? No deals. How about the Russia-Ukraine war? You're going to get that solved that first week. No deals. Well, there's a lot of uncertainties. No deals. What about these 90-day things you pushed off for all these countries? No deals. You know what? Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only. Glengarry, Glen Ross, you know. These are the Glengarry reads. To you, they're gold, but you're not getting them, you know. I mean, how can you not close a deal, any deal, in 100 days? Just one. Get Japan, South Korea, something. This looks like the most incompetent team in sales that I've ever seen. You've got only one goal: negotiate those tariffs, get them down, and nothing goes. It's like you can't make your mind up. It's almost like some mental illness is raging over there that nobody can sit there and say what we need for a deal, and nothing is getting done. And the bond market and the stock market, doesn't matter. You can control interest rates, but the bond market ain't going to be sitting there making the bonds lower. They're just going to keep on raising them up because maybe the inflation goes up, maybe the other thing, unemployment jumps up. So I always look at the, that's why I always have the 2-year note. If it's high and the rates are low, that's telling you a lot of confidence not out there. Remember, I mean, we're up before. The interest rates got cut 100 basis points in September, and we went up. We went up. So, not good. And of course, I've been talking about China has been planning for no U.S. imports since 2018. They're not stupid. They are very calculated, and everybody underestimates them. They signed a deal with the UAE on liquefied gas. Remember, they get about $2 billion a year from us. Already, they're not doing our beef. They're not doing our LNG. They're going to go out and not buy our soybeans. There we are. Like I said, we're going to have $140 million of trade go down to $100 billion. So tell me the winning of the deal. It isn't there. We need a deal. And of course, we've been talking to Xi, and I talk to them all the time. Well, when's the last time since the tariff? I am not going to reveal that at all. I'm not going to reveal that at all. I can't do my accent at all. Why would you even sit there and say you're talking to them when the Minister of Commerce says we've had no talks with the United States? Today, the embassy head of China in the United States says there's not been a single conversation with Xi and Trump. So, wow.
This is a reminder. Bitcoin, and how high will it go?
Oh, you sit and sleep.
This is a reminder.
Bitcoin,
and how high will it go?
Well, Alexa, what is the price of Bitcoin?
One Bitcoin is worth 94,770 US dollars.
What was it, 2 weeks ago? It was like 80?
Over the last 24 hours.
82? I mean, we've jumped up almost 15% in 2 weeks. Wow. Where did that come from? Well, the market's excited. Bitcoin amplifies the techs, and there it is. That's why I said we just been sitting on the Bitcoin. We're not really selling. We're not really buying. We're just sitting on it. Not a big percent of our portfolio. I mean, if we look at only just stocks, forget our real estates and all our other stuff, Bitcoin's like 2.7% of our portfolio. Gold's over 6-7 now. But it doesn't have to be that bad. Again, the tariffs, like I said, they stopped importing. They're not going to take, they just said, hey, $2 billion in Boeing. This is a big deal. And of course, the LNG, 15, they're going to go up to 49. Basically, China is not going to buy LNG from the United States. Who does that hurt? The United States LNG sellers. Who are they going to sell to? Well, probably Europe, but it's going to be a lot cheaper than it was before the tariff nonsense. So I just show equity because that's a big gas mover and everything else. And, not a bad stock. If you think about it, you come in January, you're up for a little bit for the year versus being down 10%. And so, but this is a market that's going to play out slowly as the LNG people have to try to make sales somewhere. And of course, it's summer, so guess what? Not as much LNG as the winter. Tesla, I just thought this was just a horrible, horrible quarter for Tesla. And of course, it breaks out and defies all odds. They're going to even push the S model out and not come up with a new one that was going to be lower price and stuff. Missed by 14 cents, missed on revenues. Total revenue for automotive is down. Cybercab's going to come out in 2026. I mean, what are they, 2 years behind Waymo and 3 years behind Baidu, Is anybody even going to care? I mean, they're going to try it in Austin, where they're from. You know what? Everybody's watching. Waymo's doing good safety-wise. Tesla could be in trouble if they have problems. And two different systems of operating this autonomous. And I'm telling you, everybody from the trucking to the forklifts to everybody wants autonomous to work. There's so much things they could do with it. Revenues dropped, earnings dropped. And then, of course, Elon's been very quiet. He's kind of talking he's got to go back and focus on Tesla. You think? The ship has been sinking and it's almost sunk, and you got to go back because you've been chainsawing all this other nonsense and you're not paying attention to your job. Like I said, I know he was working 80 hours a week before he did Twitter, and then he added Doge. I was like, when you get tired, you make mistakes you never thought you would make. When you get that tired, you say things you would never thought, do things you never thought. And of course, add addiction to ketamine and all this other stuff. It's not good for Tesla right now. And that's why they got rid of Twitter and put it to X, which bought AIX, so he can at least give some money back to the shareholders instead of nothing. Chubb, the rule is, Chubb always pays. You got a loss, they pay. They don't argue with you. They just pay. And little pricey, not going to do the little cheap properties that everybody would love to have. Premiums up 3 point. The insurance industry's having a tough year, and again, as the cost of prices of houses go up, the homeowner's paying for it. Like I said, I've had 230% back-to-back years. I mean, that was in stocks, but the houses. Well, guess what? My taxes are going to go up. They don't go down. If your house prices are jumping 30%, they're not going to go down. I'm going to be paying more taxes, and I'm like, why does it have to go up so much? Well, that's supply and demand. You can't control it. You can't do anything with it. Let's just say, sister-in-law's daughter or sister put a house up in my town. Only 1 or 2 houses under 300,000 sold. Contingency offers within a couple days. 6, 7, 8, 10 people want to look at it. I'm like, well, you're only one of 2 houses under 300,000. I mean, that's what the supply and demand is. You put it at 300,000, probably sit there a while, but people have money, but not $900,000 worth of money for most of them. I mean, Pulte sold 7,200 homes at probably 700,000, 500,000. So I just showed the Huawei chart. Oh, what do we got, Alexa?
This is a reminder. You didn't talk about.
Oh,
this
Microsoft.
Is a reminder. You didn't talk about.
Microsoft. Well, I kind of talked about the data center getting pushed out, and they're doing it. Um, again, I look at the key is, are the cloud growing? Is that going? That's good, because if the cloud is going, that's a lot of jobs everywhere. Huawei's getting the AI chip to compete with NVDA. I don't know if I said that or not. The chart of Huawei is kind of like bad. I mean, 5 years of nothing. I mean, we're up 30% here, 30% here, and down 10% now. Let's just say 10. So we're up 50% net in 3 years, and you had nothing in Huawei, and even though they're hot and everything else. The Bitcoin chart, that it should be say hey, look at this, 84 to this week at 97. So that's not so bad. It's a big jump, almost $9,000 in Bitcoin and stuff. So what's that mean? I don't know. Just own something, some of it. I went into the transports, going through our 12 sectors, the IYT E fund or exchange traded fund or whatever you want to call those things. We have Rider and Matrix, and the sector. Oh, it was great in December. It's riding high. Everything is riding high, and then been slowly whittling down about 10%. And this is almost all of them. Rider hit the all-time high in December, and now we're whittling down about 15%, 2% dividend. So dividends are always good. They add up. They're ringing in the cash register every month for some dividend. Matrix, same way, down, down, down. So none of the transports are breaking out yet that I see of the stuff that we own. So we'll look at it, and that's a sign. I mean, home builders are horrible right now. Consumer staples like Pepsi, horrible, and they're looking at it. The heat map. Oh my God, look at the greens. On the tech side, Microsoft, us. Apple, nope. Amazon, us. Tesla, nope. Meta, up. Yes. Google, up. NVIDIA. Remember, we had to sell Broadcom. We had to loosen the portfolio, make it more balanced for the recession. And of course, JP Morgan was up again. And then Lilly, our big drug company and stuff. So even ExxonMobil was up slightly, so overall a good week. And then, like I said, where's our Reds? They didn't like T-Mobile, and they think, Charter of all companies had a good. Comcast and T-Mobile had bad quarters, and then United Health is still reeling from the horrible guidance, and they don't know what's happening, because what's going to happen with Medicare and all that, nobody knows. PepsiCo and Procter & Gamble, the consumer staples, not so good. So we avoided some landmines. We did good. We're catching up, but the drama never continues. I would just love to see one deal sometime this next 5 weeks. Other than that, see you next week. Stay warm. It's a nice day, and I'll see you next week. Bye.